This episode is supported by Battlefoam.com.
The new Flames of War 4th edition brings you the battles of World War II in epic 15mm scale. Go to beastsofwar.com to get the latest in news, tactics and tutorials. From Viking halls to the cities of the future, terrain buffs will love our foreground hub. Watch gaming tables of all genres come to life at beastsofwar.com.
Good morning, welcome to the Weekender. We're back! Happy New Year, by the way. I think I wished you all Happy New Year anyway on John's vlog, but Happy New Year to you anyway. And Happy New Year to my co-pilots this morning. I have Az, Justin, and Ben, the Sexy Furious. You're looking trimmed, Ben.
Thank you very much. I have been shorn, I suppose, so yeah.
You live to fight with a lawnmower.
No, it's better than that, man. They go like up there and then dunk them in the sheep dip, you know? Right, we have a jam-packed show for you. We have competition winners to announce at the end of the show.
Yes, we do.
For both Dark Age and Chronicle X. Yes. And we have a big competition for our backstagers. Over the course of the next month, we're challenging backstagers to get creative, some interesting challenges and things on the XLBS show, and then on Valentine's Day or in around Valentine's Day, we're going to give you our love because one of you backstagers is going to win yourself the full Typhon Pledge of Mythic Battles. Let's just cut to us drooling over the Typhon Pledge, yeah?
Do I have to give it away? I want
it. Drool over. Okay. Right. To kick off the show, we're going to do something a bit different this morning. We have the US studio is going to zoom in here.
No sooner had event season 2017 kind of wrapped up and come to an end than Dawn and Gianna 2018 kicks off and they said, right, AdeptiCon, it's coming. And I was like, oh no, event season already? Yep, gotta start planning it. They've been planning it since the end of 2017, since August, September last year. They've been planning it, so I thought we're going to have to get them on, have a chat to them, see what the plans are for AdeptiCon. But not only that, they've also had a brand new table put into their brand new studio.
Yep.
So we had to take a look at the table, see how that went, and talk about an awesome blog series we're going to have coming up soon. We're going to see how we built the table, got the table custom made for the studio. So me and Justin sat down with Dawn and Gianna. Hello everybody, thanks for joining us today. I've got Justin and the oh so amazing new and shiny American studio with Dawn and Gianna. Hello both.
Hi everybody.
Look at that fantastic studio. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And you ladies are looking fabulous.
Oh, thank you. You also.
She's only saying that because she can't see me. So yeah,
we tell the secrets.
We thought we would get Dawn and Gianna onto the show to have a bit of a chat, just a bit of an update on a few things. So how are things going with you guys? What have you been up to recently?
So good.
Busy?
Yeah, we're getting through the holidays. That's always super busy, but nice to have a little bit of time off of work. Love that.
What are you guys playing at the minute? Like what over Christmas and stuff? What was the games that you kind of filled some time with?
I can guess.
You can guess. Yes, we got our Mythic Battles stuff too.
Oh no!
So we have loving that. Yeah.
Great game. It's a really great game. I think it's a combination of miniatures and a board game. The miniatures are beautiful and it plays like a board game. Anybody can get in and play it.
Yeah, it was so easy to pick up and hop right into.
Yeah.
That was the best part.
And what about Destiny, Dawn? Is it eating up your time?
Oh, always. I'm constantly on a quest, and you know what? And I'm obsessed with making different decks.
Yeah,
and
obsessed is a good word.
Shh, listen, nobody asked. I totally love it. And I said, and there's just something about going, oh, I want to put these two characters together. And admittedly, I don't probably make the most competitive decks because I tend to want to create the most story-driven decks.
That's awesome.
So it's fun no matter what. So.
do you know what? Narratively driven decks and ones that you know are just going to be really good fun to play with friends. And
Absolutely.
yeah, even setting up a little battle and saying, yeah, these characters would really have a cool fight, or how would this play out? That's Destiny's fantastic for that.
I'm sitting resisting, biting my knuckle, going.
Give yourself to the dark side. It is the only way you can save your friends.
So I obviously mentioned at the start about the new studio. You guys actually had Justin last year go and join you in October.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yes, we did.
Well, now, look, we'll forget Justin's here for a second. What was that like having him over?
It was an amazing week because we had just moved into the new location, and we had to have everything set up in, 2-3 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were on a mission, which was cool. So it helped pull it all together really quickly, and I thought it turned out nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anyone who's been watching on the site, you'll know that before the end of last year and also into this year as well, we've had a Song of Ice and Fire footage with Michael Chanel.
Yeah.
So he was the first big test for the three of you, really, to have him come into the US studio and say, right, let's do this and get the game shown off in the best light. And what was that like, having him in the studio?
Oh, it was great.
It was really amazing to have somebody of his caliber come in and be the first official guest. And an interesting part about the studio setup now is that we had to make it able to run with one person.
Yeah.
Because there were days where Dawn and I weren't here because we had to work our regular jobs.
Darn day jobs.
Justin had to run the studio all by himself, so we had to make sure that it was set up so one person could do all the switching and editing and everything on the fly just by themselves. So I think we accomplished it, and having Michael here was amazing. Really
it was really fun. It was great to watch the game and hear all the kind of inside stories about what went into making the game and just thoughts behind why they made pieces of it work the way that they did.
Yeah.
So.
Fantastic. And what about yourself? How did you find that, Justin, being over in the US and having having to build and then having a fully fledged studio?
Honestly, it was a very different experience. The last time I went to the States before that was for Gen Con, but this time I was actually able to have a bit of downtime in the evenings, sit with the guys, but actually going into a nice, new, completely raw space to actually build a new studio is a very different experience to what I've had before. Because normally I have Lloyd and Warren here in Ireland who are constantly, saying, no, let's put it this way, let's put it this way, this way. Okay, guys, that's fine. This time I built the studio, and with the help of Dawn and Gianna, I think we did a really good job. It was really interesting, and I have to say, I love the gaming table that they have set up over there. It's really nice to work on.
Yeah, you're an artist. You like a blank canvas thing, clearly. You like just going at it. And yes, the centerpiece, as Justin's called out, actually, is the brand new gaming table you have in the studio. So this is your Julio's Woodshop custom-made table. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what went into it?
He did such a great job.
So what is it made of? Tell us a little bit about the table. Like, why have you gone for this particular color and look?
Well, ironically, the color was kind of a last-minute change. It wasn't the route we thought we were going with to begin with. It wasn't until the table was totally together and he put the swatches out in front of us again that it was like, ooh, I like the red, I think. And especially knowing a lighter color was going to go in the middle, we thought it would stand out really
we
nice.
wanted that high contrast because we thought it would show up better on video than going with just the natural oak color, which would kind of blend in with the table surface.
And what was your kind of, whenever you sat down initially with Julio to say, this is what we need, what kind of requirements and what kind of things were you pitching to him that you needed to work to?
Well, we knew specifically we were trying to focus more on the board game ends of things here. So that's why we wanted to go with a table that had more of the insert to it, so that we have gaming playing space, a controlled area to roll dice so that we weren't dumping things off of the table. And big enough, we were trying to think, like, what are some of the biggest games that we try to play, the ones that you're always space challenged with, because the parts take up every square inch of the table, and then if you God forbid, have to try to put your arm down somewhere, you're knocking things off the table. So this, what we were trying to think of what we've done recently in the past, and it was Mansions of Madness, Star Trek Ascendancy, just things that have the potential to kind of explore all over the place and have room to grow.
And it's perfectly sized for Axis and Allies, the second edition that just came out.
Well, thank goodness for that.
I know, right? We're going to have so much fun.
Does it make you feel like more of a commander, Gianna, whenever you're looking at it? You've got that extra little depth there where you can put your hands on the side and look down on the board?
Yes. It gives me that overall, I am the supreme leader.
I thought that was
really
standard.
Fun.
No, I will say,
just kidding, it is. Yeah, no.
The top of it is all oak. It's solid oak. That he, routed and mitered everything. It has an insert, so this insert that I'm touching here can actually lift out and be cleaned or changed if need be.
Okay.
And then the base of it is all maple laminated plywood to save on some of the cost.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a perfect table. Like I said, we went with this size because of board games mostly, and it also fits within the studio space.
Yeah.
The important thing to note is that Julio can design a table to any dimensions that anybody requires.
Yeah.
It's handcrafted. He does a wonderful job. So
he does. And that sets the scene nicely because in the near future, you guys will get to have a look. Not only did we want to get a table that looks so pretty like this to have in the studio, but we thought it'd be really cool to show you kind of behind the scenes what goes into creating a table. Now, Justin, you're probably well versed in this because of your history, but like me, I was quite clueless, and I was really happy to learn. There's a lot that goes into. I mean, it's a table. You know, in my mind, I wouldn't necessarily be very aware of all of the steps that go into bringing something like this to life. So it's pretty amazing.
And he lets you use power tools.
Yes, that was pretty cool.
Wait, he let you use power tools, Tom?
I know, right? I did learn
You still have all your fingers, right?
And all of that, and I admittedly was very nervous. That was definitely something out of my comfort zone, but it was pretty awesome.
I will say, I did get a look at the build quality on this table. It is flawless.
Yeah.
Now, me, whenever I was doing joinery, I was on a building site. We could be a little more rough and ready. When you're building furniture, you have to be millimeter perfect on every cut, every joint.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go together perfectly, if you've miscalculated something, it's not going together right, and it's going to look crap. This is flawless.
And as Dawn alluded to,
he does
really
really
beautiful
good work.
And I said we met Julio at AdeptiCon last year, and that was kind of how all of this came to be. You know, we saw the tables that he had at his stand, but what really caught our attention was he had two huge tables, convention-sized tables, that people were playing Star Wars on. You know, and of course, like, Star Wars is the best
X-Wing.
hook ever.
Yeah, for the X-Wing tournament.
They had people playing Rebellion.
Oh, that's
one
right.
Of the tables
Yes, they
too,
did.
So, you know, if it wasn't, you know, you weren't interested to begin with, then you put Star Wars, and they were kind of galactic themed tables, I think are what he called them. And
yes.
They totally looked like kind of space council-y, and it was pretty
nice.
awesome. It was like, yeah, we need to go talk to this guy.
So we filmed the interview, and then we started talking, and he's like, hey, how about a game table? And we're like, hey, that'd be great. And then here we are. So it was we sat down, we talked about the needs, what we could do, and we got to the final product, and then we filmed the 3-part series, give everybody a background into what entails into a table.
Yeah.
So it's been a great journey. It really has.
Definitely.
Yeah, so over the next 3 weeks, basically, everyone at home, you're going to get a chance to see all 3 sort of stages as Dawn and Gianna actually go out to Julio's wood shop, and you get to see the table starting from scratch as it goes through the entire process of being made. And I think that the way you guys have alluded to there, the fact that your dimensions, what you wanted to do it for, the purpose of the table was all taken into consideration along the way was really nice. And hearing that he's doing stuff for miniatures, stuff for board games, stuff for galactic and space table, that sounds amazing. Like,
right?
I'm just going to go get the themed table for the night. I'll get the galactic table tonight, and tomorrow I'll get the Viking table, and then the next day I'll have the medieval table.
This is the thing.
We're going to need a bigger studio.
This is the thing. Even with this table, you could even go to Julio or someone like him and actually get them to make a topper to go on top of this. So say you're in the middle of a board game and you have a topper and you have this in your dinner room. Take out the topper, put it down, have your dinner, take the topper off, finish your game.
A topper. It's easily done. We did a quick fix when we filmed the Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah, I got that right. But so I mean, there's so much to do, and I know Julio was going to make the plans available for people overseas who couldn't get a table shipped.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so if it's something you want to check out, if you're in the States or overseas, you can go and check out Julio's wood shop. But you guys mentioned, obviously, of course, that you met him at AdeptiCon. And okay, it's just the start of 2018. AdeptiCon is coming in March, but we're already well underway with plans and events and what's going on there. You guys have been privy to some of that as well. For anyone that doesn't know, Like some of the stuff you get at AdeptiCon, like so this is just some of the standard stuff. You got the crystal brush painting competition. You've got a huge board game library which already has over 300 entries listed at this time of the year. So we've still got 3 months to go. You've got hobby seminars. You've got so we still got 3 months. You've got over 450 events currently listed, right? So there's tournaments, open demos, competitions, all the kind of stuff you expect with all your big miniature games. But apart from that, you've got crash courses in hobbying. If you want to pick up like MDF work or you want to get into your own kind of miniature woodworking,
that would tempt me.
you could go and look at the making of dioramas. There's award-winning artists there. You can just go and see, and they'll take you through how they started the entire process of doing huge dioramas. Games Workshop are going to be there. Duncan Rhodes is going to be teaching how to shade.
Oh, nice.
Kind of cool.
So Don will be stalking him again.
Have you got a little bit of a crush on Duncan, Don?
I can neither confirm or deny such allegations.
Taking the fifth.
Says everything you need to know. But one of the ones that caught my eye about all the events coming in at AdeptiCon was this little one entitled Star Wars Legion Painting the Starter Set.
Oh.
Which to me was like, woo, 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 Legion, we need to pay attention. And you ladies already have a little bit of knowledge about this.
We do, yeah. So in the very near future, you guys are going to get a look. Gianna and I get the privilege of sitting on the planning committee for AdeptiCon, which is awesome because we get a great behind-the-scenes look at what's going on, what's coming, down the pipeline from them. And Fantasy Flight is going to be bringing the Star Wars Legion things there.
In full force.
Oh, you said force. Yeah. So,
you did that.
That was great.
Oh, God. I think the timing of when Legion is going to drop, I think is going to be awesome.
Yep.
And I said it's going to be so close to when AdeptiCon happens that people aren't going to probably have a whole lot of time to have it in their hands, before the show. But that said, they're like setting it up perfectly for you to be able to explore that hobby once we get to the show. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
That's a big one for me with AdeptiCon, and I'm so glad you guys are covering it. So next week at home, you'll be able to see Dawn sitting down with the FFG and having a bit of a chat with what their plans are. And also, I know both of you got together to kind of get your heads together and throw out a big question to the community. So I'll spoil this a little bit, but it's actually important that we get on this as soon as possible. With all those events and all those seminars and all the hobby things going on, we need to know what you want to see. If you can't make it to AdeptiCon, what's big for you guys? What do you think the community is going to be interested in, or what's the big highlights?
I mean, the Legion stuff for me is probably what I'm super excited about. But we haven't had the ability of getting in on any of the painting seminars at this point. We've always had the ability to film Carlos's Infinity seminar. We are going to try to see maybe if we can get the GW Studio preview. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking Gianna and I have had a nice talk about maybe we could get in on one of the airbrushing seminars because I think that would be really of interest to people. And a Duncan seminar, if they'll let us get in on that Duncan seminar. I'm just saying. But really, anything else that's of interest to people, that's what we want to hear.
So one of the things we're looking at to do this year is cover one of the championship tournament games, the final game for a championship. A couple people had already suggested possibly the championship for the Saga Grand Melee.
Oh, wow.
That'd be good.
So, because last year, we've always, go from here to here. Kind of erratic. We cover what we can, but we're hoping to have more people this year so that we might be able to dedicate and actually record some of a grand championship to bring because Saga especially is,
and those tables are always so
and they're
pretty.
beautiful tables. They do a really good job with terrain on those.
I think the big thing for everyone watching at home is you're going to help dictate this. So
yes,
absolutely.
Comment on today's post. Let us know what is key from AdeptiCon because we're going to listen to you and whatever you want to see, whatever the thing that you're really regretting that you're not going to be there for, let us know. It's always tough with those grand tournaments and stuff because obviously the companies try and stream them sometimes, they try and record them themselves, but we'll do whatever we can. We'll sneak Dawn in, we'll get Gianna to hijack the Ethernet, we'll get them working on whatever they want to bring.
Right, so tell me we're not at the stage of bionic replacements right now for a camera eye going in there.
Oh yeah, some net ready eyes stuff, some Netrunner stuff. I could that.
I still have some connections. I was thinking maybe at the border when Warhammer TV comes over with their, remote cameras, that maybe we confiscate them and use them for our own purpose.
I was more liking that above Gianna, she says she has connections, is the Godfather board game. I'm like, oh no, Gianna.
Perfect planning. Yeah.
So yeah, look, thank you so much for the update, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to all your chats as we build up to AdeptiCon and the coverage. Looking forward to seeing how the table was built and all the effort that goes into that as well. It's going to be great coverage. It's nice being like when Warren went and learned how to mold miniatures. Like the board gaming chic and furniture and stuff is kind of becoming big now, as it is for the miniature world. I love seeing behind the scenes and seeing how this stuff comes about. So I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
Fantastic. Well, look, everyone at home, leave your comments below with those AdeptiCon suggestions on what you want to see, and we will catch you again soon.
High octane anime action is the name of the game in Relic Knights. Mount up in your mecha and battle for glory at our Relic Knights hub on beastsofwar.com. Become a general of mighty armies at the Kings of War hub. Take command of elves, dwarves and orcs in this game of massed fantasy combat on beastsofwar.com.
So yeah, we need you. We need everyone out there to let us know what you want to see at AdeptiCon. What's the big thing for you? What's important that we cover? Because there's so much. It's just impossible to see it all. There's so many seminars planned. It's ridiculous. So let us know what you want to see. I'm looking forward to seeing the stages of the table getting built for the US studio. It's making me a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
I tell you, I want a Julio of my own here. we could just go in, capture him, bring him back here.
I could build you one, but it might not look so nice.
Oh God. How many men? 10 men, 6 months?
Right. 1 man, 1 year.
1 man, 1 year. Okay.
That's not bad. It's the start of the year, but now's the time to start that plan.
I am suffering withdrawal symptoms. Okay. I need to know what's happening in the world of gaming. Okay. And a little bird tells me that some of the big news now that we're looking at is Hellboy is coming to the tabletop. Ben, fill me in.
Yeah, so Mantic announced towards the end of the year, start of 2018, that they're going to be working alongside Dark Horse Comics on a new Hellboy board game. That's pretty much all we know so far, but knowing Mantic, I'm sure it's going to take a lot of stuff from what they've been learning over the past couple of years from their other games like Dungeon Saga and Walking Dead, and they're going to be adding their own flair to it as well, I imagine. But it sounds really awesome. There's going to be a lot of sort of dungeon delving and sort of ruin excavating, I suppose you'd say, playing as the likes of Hellboy and Abe Sapien that you know from the movies and of course from the comic books as well. All the art sort of direction and the way that sculpting is going to be going is sort of based on the comic book side of things. So it's all based on the artwork of Mike Mignola, which is some of the artwork you see there in the news piece that we put up about it. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where they go with this one, because this could be a pretty awesome new angle for them to go down when it comes to their tabletop game range. So, yeah.
Mantic, if you go the same general kind of route as you went with Walking Dead on this, I will not be disappointed in the slightest.
This is a board game, though. This is, Dungeons, I guess.
The Walking Dead is kind of a board game. It's a hybrid.
Have a word.
If they go hybrid on this, or at least to give me hybrid rules, I can do a full foreground city board, okay, with Hellboy kicking the shit out of monsters up and down that city. Tell me that wouldn't be cool.
That would be epic.
It would be amazing. Quite simply, it would be amazing. I would like to be able to play both sides, though. I don't want to just sit playing the heroes in this. I want to have options to play the evil guys.
Why is that?
I like the evil guys in the actual movie. I like the characters. I like the design of them. I think they could be fun to play on the tabletop as well.
Yeah. It's funny that, because a number of people have mentioned, actually, that you look extremely like Rasputin's scrotum.
Way to kick off the year, Warren. Wow!
No, anybody that knows Justin the way I do knows that he was sitting there angling for that. And in the moment of building up, you look like Rasputin, the wee shoulders start to go, he gets ready. You look like his ball bag, man.
Has there been any more develop on your role-playing character?
No. I've been playing through some
How
stuff.
is Rim? No.
I've been playing through a couple
What's
of
his
events.
name again?
Rurik.
Rurik. Wait, it's short for, what do you call him, Rue for short?
Yeah, just
Rue.
because I knew that someone like you wouldn't be smart enough to pronounce his name.
Did you whip Rue out over the holidays?
I played a bit.
Yeah?
I played a bit. I went in for a couple of events, joined a guild, and yeah, it's actually just like role-playing on the tabletop. It's just you're typing stuff in instead of actually interacting with people
you don't
physically.
get to speak? And what do you mean you don't get to interact with them physically? I thought there was a
Did
lot...
you till
right,
gaming?
okay. But you're still like...
It's the same as role-playing.
Aye.
There is
Did you go down to...
No, I didn't go.
You didn't go
I didn't go.
Astardia. What does he call the place again?
Goldshire.
Golden Shire. Yeah, that's it. Well...
No, I didn't go.
You haven't plucked up the courage yet.
No,
you need to level Rue up a little bit before you can wander in there, is it?
No, actually, I've got the character near top level already. Yeah, so I'm quite content with that. I'm actually quite enjoying it because the guild I've joined actually run it as if it's a proper sort of medieval knightly order. So it's actually really interesting to learn the different battle tactics and stuff that they use when they're out and about. Learning to do battlefield triage via the role-playing system that they use. It's actually very interesting.
That does sound fascinating.
Wow. Do they restrict like the spells and stuff you can cast?
They do, and you have to transmog all your gear to actually look like a specific set of armor. So it's all very regimented.
Right now, from one transmog to another, what the hell does transmog mean?
All right, so you know the way in World of Warcraft you get all the bright, shiny, magical armor, flames, magical beams flying out your arse.
I don't, but I can imagine.
It's the digital equivalent of
skinning.
No, what when you proxy a miniature.
All right, it's like proxying.
You're like saying this miniature is Malfurion or whatever, but it's not actually. It's something else.
It lets you reskin to be in a uniform. So you basically take your armor set and change the actual visual appearance.
It keeps the theme of the world and also helps
people... So you're in
people...
uniform?
Yes. Full plate.
Full plate uniform. And you haven't wandered into Golden Shire yet?
No, we don't.
Man, you are going to be in for so much fun when you go down there.
It's actually something that the characters within the guild wouldn't actually do. They're lawful good, so they wouldn't be in for all the hedonism and stuff.
Do you know what? I have a plan for you, Justin.
Well, you're going to create your own guild?
No, if they catch you, right? If your other guild members catch you...
Someone hacked my account!
No. You just say, I heard a scream and I came in to help. I have it all worked out, man. Stick with me. I'm gonna get a character. I'll join you. We'll go for a wander around Golden Shire and we'll have a whale of a time. Ben, are you up for a bit of that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I love role playing, so go for it.
I do want to stress. So much as I know you're going to make a very sexy little dungeon crawling board game. Yeah, all that there. I want to see a tabletop game. I want to see a tabletop game where I can get like a New York City or big ass American city going and have big gribbly monsters and my gang of Hellboy and Fish Guy.
Abe
Sapien, yeah.
If they don't, we'll hack it. They'll have all the beautiful minis, and we'll just hack our own. We'll take The Walking Dead, we'll just hack it for Hellboy.
If the minis turn out half as good, well, if they turn out as good as the stuff from The Walking Dead, I think we're going to be very, very happy with this. I think it's going to be great. Right. Event-wise, we've talked a bit about AdeptiCon, but there's the Nova Open also on the way, as.
Yeah, Ben, do you want to tell us a bit about this? Is actually specifically the charity raffle that we wanted to chat about a little bit, just to give a little highlight to something that's going on in the world, because it's a chance for people out there to get a chance to win unique one-off prizes. Actually, Dave Taylor, who does an article series on the website for us, has actually painted some Shadespire minis from it. You want to give us the details, Ben?
Yeah, so this is from the Nova Open Charitable Foundation. They're running a raffle at the moment where you can win yourself a Shadespire Ultimate set. So it comes with everything from the starter set as well as the Aurochs, so the Iron Jaws, and then the Sepulchral Guard as well. So you've got the Undead thrown in there. You can win all of this. You just enter a raffle. All the funds go to Doctors Without Borders, which is awesome in of itself. But as was saying, you also get some amazing painted warbands as well. So these have been painted by Dave Taylor Miniatures and also by 1 Inch Hero as well. The other big thing for this is, at the same time, is that all of this stuff comes bundled in some really nice KR multi-case stuff as well, and they will ship it anywhere in the world. So depending on it doesn't matter where you are, you can just sign up for this, get stuck in, do some stuff for charity, and maybe get some cool things out of it at the same time as well.
Beautiful. On the topic of
Games
Workshop and kind of Age of Sigmar type stuff, Malign Portents is the new campaign book that's come out. Ben, can you fill us in?
So yeah, this is the new campaign book that's sort of been teased up into the run until Christmas, and then was finally announced over the holiday period. And this is going to be following the sort of downfall of Sigmar as this sort of leader over the mortal realms, and instead focusing on the realm of death and Nagash himself. And this is going to be a campaign book that takes you in sort of all the narrative and sort of exploring the realm of death as well as all the other realms at the same time, but plotting out this narrative campaign going forward, where you'll see how all the different sort of grand alliances deal with this new sort of coming of chaos and death and evil at the same time. So things are going in a very, very different direction. There's a lot less hope, and there's a lot less sort of a lot more sort of darkness on the horizon for what's happening with Age of Sigmar. We actually got to see a whole bunch of the harbingers, as they're called, for each of the grand alliances. So you've got Varus Starstrike, who's there for the Forces of Order. There's Marakar Bloodsky that a lot of people have seen for the Forces of Chaos. You've got Snazgar Stink Mullet, who's the first look actually at some proper goblins in the world of Age of Sigmar.
That's a good one. Of the three, that's my favourite.
Mm-hmm. You just love mushrooms, man. You just got things for mushrooms.
Is there a big little bug on top of the staff?
Actually, I probably should save this for backstage, but there is a reason why we have a thing for mushrooms. We are all descended from mushrooms.
Backstage.
Right? No, I've got to say it. No. Forget the running order, right? You've got to hear this, right? So, I always thought it was really weird, right, that orcs were mushrooms. Okay? So, basically, in 40k, an orc is like a giant mushroom. Yep, it surprised me as well, but they are, okay? What I didn't realize was that us human beings, in real life, this is true now, we are descended from mushrooms. We have more in common with mushrooms than we do with any other things like
species.
Well, I don't know the exact word of the taxonomy or whatever, but we have more in common. Animals have more in common with mushrooms than we do, for example, with plants and stuff like that. There, in fact, the first known living thing to settle on land was the mushroom. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, right? Mushrooms, okay, there's mushrooms basically grow under the surface. So there's mushrooms and there's fungi, and it's all the same kind of a thing. But the mushrooms themselves, underneath the surface of the soil, have create this huge giant neural net. In fact, one of the largest living thing in the world is this giant 22,000 acre space where there's one giant mushroom network living under the soil, and it's the largest living thing in the world. And what they reckon is that these mushrooms may even be sentient, because these neural networks are so large and so complicated that they in many ways resemble the neural pathways and stuff of our brain.
And we haven't nuked them yet.
There's a dude out there called Paul Stamets. Okay, Paul Stamets is an expert in mushrooms. Okay, check him out on YouTube. My favorite dude, Joe Rogan, has a great episode where him and Paul Stamets sit down and have a chat.
I'm expecting a tinfoil hat.
You will love it. It is great. But mushrooms could save the planet. Okay?
Right.
Mushrooms could save the planet. We are on the verge, we're probably in the process now of the great sixth extinction event at the moment, okay? And by far the most dangerous thing that we face is the collapse of bee colonies. And people don't actually realize just how serious this shit is on the bee colony front. We're now looking at 80% of bee colonies now basically dying off. Natural bee colonies are being utterly devastated, and really all that's keeping us going pretty much is the beekeepers. And big beekeeping communities are finding like 80% of their bee colonies dying. So they've been doing research into this, and they've been finding viruses and things like that there that have been attacking the bees, along with things like the use of particular pesticides and stuff like that have put the bees at risk. Okay, Paul Stamets discovered that bees were attracted to a particular type of mushroom. They reckon now that there's 5 million species of mushroom. A few years ago they thought it was 1.5 million. Now they reckon there's about 5 million species of mushroom. Okay, these mushrooms. Many are deadly. A lot of them are tasty. Many of them are psychedelic. Woo! And some of them are looking like really interesting possibilities of cures for ailments such as cancers and things like that. They're really, really interesting work going on cures from mushrooms. Paul Stamets' own mother had late-stage cancer, like really late-stage cancer, and she went through normal, traditional state-of-the-art cancer treatments.
Well, like chemotherapy and stuff.
These kinds of things, but also supplemented it with a particular type of mushroom. And she was 84 years old. She wasn't expected to survive, and now she's completely cancer-free. Not saying it's about the mushrooms. It's about the mushrooms. It's about combining things. But what he's discovered was that bees were attracted to a particular kind of mushroom. Now, mushrooms are normally found in trees that have started to rot. So trees that have died, they rot, and then you'll find mushrooms and things like that there. And also, what you used to find in dead trees were bee colonies.
Oh, okay.
And these bee colonies were near to these mushroom colonies. And the mushroom colonies actually, whenever he exposed bees to the particular extracts of these mushrooms, he doubled the life of the bees. He was also able to sort out what the big problem was, which was a wing deformity disease that the bees were having. And using the extracts from this mushroom, he was able to almost completely eradicate this wing deformity thing. So the planet, and people have to realize, if we didn't have bees, bees are responsible for the vast majority of pollination. So it's not only about our food, it's just purely about plant pollination, full stop. If they're not pollinated, they will not propagate. So this one guy, Paul Stamets, single-handedly may have saved the world. And most of us didn't even realize the world was at risk in the first place.
Interesting.
Well, there you go. Snazgar Stink Mullet is clearly the out there version of him, I suppose.
Yeah, we are descendants from mushrooms.
So your off-topic sentiment then is, anybody out there who's watching this who is a beekeeper or knows a beekeeper, look this up, get a log, fill it with these mushrooms, put it next to your hives.
Yeah, pretty much. It's but seriously, go and look at mushrooms. We can laugh about shrooms and stuff like that there, but mushrooms deserve our respect. Respect the mushroom, man.
Why do you always
want
the mushroom at your party?
and if I may say, right, can we go back over a couple of the other images, right? So up to the top.
Here?
No, of the miniatures. There we go. Right. So we have this dude here. Who's the dude in the golden armor?
So that's Varus Starstrike, and he's the Lord Ordinator, and they are sort of a sect of the Stormcast Eternals that look to the future, and they look at portents and oracles and stuff like that. And so he has foreseen all of this that is happening, and he's trying to marshal the Grand Alliance of Order together to fight against the forces of Nagash.
Okay, right. He's interesting. Actually, on that front, Paul Stamets is the guy who was behind the idea of, do you know the way in the new Star Trek?
Does he look like Paul Stamets?
Do you know in the new Star Trek, Ben, there was the whole spores thing? And the spores created a network, and that allowed instantaneous travel and stuff like that through the universe. Yeah, it was Paul Stamets who gave them that basic concept about the mushrooms and
I thought you would have hated the most recent episode.
So I haven't caught up on
it.
That mini's not bad, actually.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's not particularly inspired because it looks pretty much the same as a lot of the others.
Well, I thought these guys were souls that were bound to the Stormcast Eternal Armor.
No, that's old news. It's not like that anymore. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So scroll on down. Seriously, I'm not liking this mini.
It looks like I disagree because I think it looks like Uma Thurman. I kind of like it. You don't think her face looks a bit like Uma Thurman?
Yeah, Uma Thurman. I see it.
I'm kind of digging it. Do a Kill Bill style.
Perhaps.
Oh, that would make cool.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the angle. Maybe it's just the angle that the mini's taken at. But there's something really odd about the proportions of it.
The posing of the legs looks a little weird to me.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange. However. Yeah,
Sorry,
ahead,
I was going to say it's a little bit of a shame because the artwork for her is actually really amazing, and I wish they'd kept it a little bit more in line with that. But each to their own with these kind of miniatures. But yeah,
I don't know. It may well just be the angle that it's shot at. No.
Next.
That is a model. Mm-hmm. That is a gaming mini that I want to own, regardless of whether I play Goblins or play Age of Sigmar or not. Just look at that, dude. Now, if the Goblins go down that direction, that is mighty cool. But I thought the Goblins were going to have 6 legs, according to the new...
I thought that was some kind of spiderling.
Yeah, so that was just sort of like a magical offshoot of them, because obviously, well, with the old world you had sort of regular goblins and then night goblins.
Yeah.
I think those sort of 8-legged ones was tied into the idea of spiders that you got with night goblins, and then this guy's a little bit of sort of like a junction between the two. So you've got him having a very traditional goblin look, but then he's also got the night goblin robes and the things you would associate with them from the old world. So yeah, I think he's trying to sort of like a little bit of a halfway house between the two looks. So,
awesome. And then we've one more to see.
Yeah. So
okay.
Here we go. What's this?
Yeah, so this is Keldrek that was previewed just before Christmas, and he's the Knight of Shrouds, and he is the chosen of Nagash to lead his forces of undead into the other mortal realms. And the deal with him is that he's almost like a coward, or like a sort of like a dark soul that basically gave up his life and said, make me live forever and I'll serve you, Nagash. And so Nagash did that and turned him into this wraith, as you see here. And he basically walks around the mortal realms now and in Malign Portents, and as things are going forward in the campaign, basically offering a sort of a bargain, effectively. And his thing is, you either join Nagash or we kill you and we harness your souls for all of our different machinery and all these different types of things that we use. So yeah, he's not a very nice guy, but I think the model looks absolutely fantastic. And it's really much in line with what we saw from the new skeletons as well for Shadespire, which I really liked in terms of the aesthetics and things. So I'm liking the look of this model in particular. So yeah.
Is this a particular faction, Ben? What is the name of Nagash's faction, if he has one?
Well, the overall thing is it's the Grand Alliance of Death. So that's it. Within that, there are certain factions, and I think the new book brings up sort of 6 new sort of battle formations, I guess you'd say, if you were using a sort of Warhammer 40,000 style thing to it. So yeah, there are different factions within this. So there are factions that would be aligned with more vampiric side, more to do with like spirits and the ghosts and stuff, and then you've got the big huge creatures as well that would serve Nagash himself. So they have broken this up into themed ideas and forces as well, so you can use all the models that you maybe had in your collection to create a new sort of idea for the Grand Alliance.
Does that include the Tomb Kings? If you had the kind of the Tomb Kings models, you could
yeah, you could break out some of the old Tomb King models. I mean, obviously a lot of them are potentially a little bit more dated now, especially the traditional sort of skeletons as sort of rank and file that you would have got for the Tomb Kings. But if you've got any of the larger models that they had for Tomb Kings, you could probably repurpose them into something a little bit interesting for the forces of death. Yeah, good.
Quick side note for the Tomb Kings: we're actually currently waiting for them to be added as a playable race for Warhammer Total War 2.
Right.
So they are coming to the PC.
Okay.
One of the other big things actually I wanted to point out for Malign Portents is that it's going to be the first time we're actually going to be looking at a lot more of the realms in a bit more detail. So one of the big things they talked about in some of their videos is that they're going to be looking at actual maps of some of the realms. So one of the big things that a lot of people have accused Age of Sigmar of is not having much of like a physical presence for us to like absorb and look at, but they're going to be creating a whole bunch of maps and sort of laying out how the different realm gates work together and things. So it's going to be a lot more sort of detail on the mortal realms as a whole, so you'll have a lot more of like an understanding of how it all works, and they're going to be mapping out how each of the different realms sort of looks and feels, and sort of what it's like to live at the center of them and then go off to the edges of them as well at the same time. So for people that want a little bit more background, this is going to have a lot more of that thrown into there as well. So
awesome stuff. Right, we have a feature now. Justin has got the chance to sit down with the guys from Parabellum to talk about Conquest.
Yeah, so Leo and me are just having a nice sit-down chat, just introduce you to the world, some of the main players in the world, and just basically give you a first look at this. So we'll be right back.
Hi guys, I'm Colin from Battle Systems, and you're watching The Weekender at beastsofwar.com.
Hello everybody and welcome. I am joined by Leo from Parabellum Wargames, and today we are talking Conquest.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Welcome to Ireland.
So excited to be here and talk to you about the game. So we brought here a new game, Conquest. Overall, we're talking about a fantasy setting. Right, we want to make a very fast-paced tactical game. We pay a lot more attention to the strategy and the depth of the tactics involved, rather than going way too far with the rules. So we're very happy with the final, how the game is turning out.
Now, are we looking at skirmish level, or are we going full mass battle with this game?
We're definitely talking. Actually, what we have tried really hard is to allow the game to scale in a way that doesn't break the game. So you can play at if you see the models right here,
yes.
we have placed them on stands. So they actually, when you play the game, the models are rank and file. Actually, these stands come with the actual model. So when you get the models, you get the bases and you get the stands for them to sit as well. But yeah, a smaller battle will be at a skirmish to battle level size level.
Okay.
And but it actually scales up very nicely, very smoothly. The transition is good.
Okay, so for people out there who have never heard of the game before, what would be the elevator pitch for this? What would be the overarching narrative of the world that we're bringing people into?
Overall, we like a world. We have created this overall lore in which, you know, there is no very clear lines between who's the good and the bad guy here. Like, everybody is fighting for their own purpose. Everybody has their own motivations. Everybody is struggling for their own survival in the world of Conquest, right? And that, and I think that allows us to make when we depart from the very typical roles of good and bad, like, it allows us to make a very distinct, very flavorful armies. Actually, as a matter of fact, here you'll see the two armies that we're going to be including in our starter box. These are the 100 Kingdoms and the Spires. Now, the 100 Kingdoms, their whole lore is that they suffer from a cataclysmic event, and that their empire, which let them actually break down into 100 individual kingdoms ruled by an overall leader and having a very feudal type of society. Okay. So their whole right now they're in a position in which they're trying to rebuild and overall strive for survival. On the other hand, we have the Spires, or the Exiles. Now, they are a lot more corporate in their logic.
Really? Corporate? Yeah, but they look gribbly.
You know, the whole thing with them is that actually the models you see are not the Spires themselves. So the Spires are this race that are very into biomancy and pheromancy. The biomancy being the science of creating forms, and the pheromancy is controlling behavior. So what they do is that they create drones and clones. These are the main forces with which they fight and overall operate. So you'll see, actually, these are the brute drones. These are, you'll see the little things on their head. This is where...
Well, we have a close camera set up. Pass them across here.
Oh.
Let me ask one question. This guy, he doesn't come in the starter set, no?
No, this is just we printed. As a matter of fact, we brought this as a gift to you, which you can keep, and you can actually absolutely keep it.
Dude, look at it. It's huge.
Yeah, and please have it as a little gift from us.
Oh, thank you.
Overall, we want to promote, we want to give out, we want to make giveaways later on as the game progresses.
Okay.
And so we thought, what better way to begin this by giving you a bigger version of our brute drone.
Hey, John, you want to get those paintbrushes ready?
I know, right? So these are the brute drones. As a matter of fact, the whole concept is, as you'll notice the little piece on their head. This is where they hang from. Like, they are in a production line almost. So what the Spires do is that they create their soldiers out of mineral resources and whatever organic materials, and their troops are made for a very specific purpose. So the troops that actually survive this process of creation, they actually left in vats for longer, and they grow to be these brutes.
I see.
That they are in this constant despair, and they are only receive neural commands through their pheromancers. So this is the if you want to take a look here, this is the abomination.
Okay, now this comes in the starter set?
Yeah, this model, as you see it, this exact size comes in with everything you'll find in the starter set.
All right. Just to give people an idea of the scale, this is a regular infantryman on the base who has been, I think, stamped on.
Yeah, there has been the battle definitely hasn't been in his favor.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if you have one of these big things running towards you, I think I might advance the long way round.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
But definitely, in our starter box, we wanted to give out a really good deal, right? We really wanted to go out there and help players, new players start out. So we're going to be including about 80 miniatures in our starter box, and we're going to be going for an 80 to 80 kind of deal here. We'll be talking about 80 euros for the starter box. So we're very excited about that. All in hard plastic and very hyped.
Pre-built, or you build yourself?
You build yourself. Sprues, hard plastic sprues, build yourself, paint yourself, assemble them, you have your army ready.
Awesome. All right, now, 100 Kingdoms. I'm seeing some very, very classical fantasy looks here.
Yeah,
very nice. So
these are the Feudal Knights. Right now, you see the Feudal Knights. These are, we like a lot, we try to make them a lot bigger, a lot larger in size, because we really like that scale, the sheer force. And as a matter of fact, in our game, these are classified as medium cavalry.
Oh,
we have a lot heavier cavalry coming up.
Wow!
You see, the 100 Kingdoms have these forces. In a sense, we call them orders. So you'll see that although they do not have access to monsters and so on, the humans, they have all this super elite cavalry and super elite infantry later on of very capable soldiers.
Now, so obviously humanity has to be led by somebody, and is this the leader for your starter box? Yes.
Yeah. He's going to be. This is a variation on the Feudal Knights. This is a noble commander right now, as you see. The model that she right now is not the final concept of the actual character, but
okay.
he's actually being completed now. As a matter of fact, we also have a character for the Spires that we're going to see later on, that we're going to see in the during our when we play the game.
We are going to learn to play the game. All right, now I want to grab the infantry because this makes me happy. I love seeing nice big scale block units of guys.
Yeah, actually,
just look so impressive together.
As a matter of fact, this size, we're talking about 24 models right here. This is the size of the warband that you're going to be finding in the starter box. So you're going to be starting out with a good big unit of big warband of 24 men.
It's nice and chunky. It feels like it's going to take a bit of a beating from the big monster. So it's nice to see that you've actually thought about that, to actually say, okay, they're going against big monsters. We want to make the games that people are playing from the starter box feel meaty, feel punchy.
Yeah, definitely.
The actual thinking that has to go into a starter box.
We want it new players
clever.
Exactly, to start out with a good force, to feel that they're getting their good bang for the buck.
Now, you sent through some artwork to actually start giving us a bit of a feel and a flavor for the world of Conquest.
Absolutely.
So, what's the first thing we're seeing here?
This is actually beginning exploration art of the art that we have for our starter box, and that's a little bit of a tease on what to expect on the box itself.
We then have this.
Yeah, this is a Dwegum fortress. The Dwegums is one of the factions that we're going to be releasing right after our initial release. We're looking at initial release with 2 factions, and the first year after the release, we're going to be having 2 more factions fully fleshed out. So these are the Dwegum that you see right here, and the Nords.
Okay, cool. Let's just start cycling through some of these at random just to see what we have.
This is a little bit of a mood setter kind of piece. This is again a Dwegum city.
But it feels very dark. It feels heavy. You know, it feels like there's a nice level of horror to it.
Yeah.
And then moving on through, we have some other artwork. Ooh, who is this gentleman?
Right now, you're seeing a War Priest, a Dwegum War Priest.
Okay.
We want it with Dwegum are this race. We have to go a little bit back into the lore here to understand it a little better. So what's going on here is that the world of Conquest is made out of these primordial forces, one of which is war. War is in essence that has been imprisoned deep within the center of the world when the dragons were still ruling the world of Conquest. So Dwegum actually is a race that was made to go all the way, enslaved by the dragons, created by the dragons, to go all the way down to the core of the world, find war. But when they did, and they wanted to rebel against the dragons, they started consuming pieces of war, and they raised on this war against the dragons that made, in a sense, carry pieces of war with them and unleash it upon the world. So they are this race of wanting to break away from their chains, but still want to create something for themselves.
And then, is this another Dweghom we have here?
Yeah, this is another. This is actually a sorcerer that you see right here.
Okay, and the sort of container that he's holding, is that a part of war, or is that something else?
This is they have different ways to channel their energies, and so we're talking right here in this piece. This is an ornament that he's using to channel his force through.
Very cool. All right, let's have a look at this one. What do we have here?
This is the Spire, the Spire abomination that you see right here. This is a Thresher abomination. The whole concept here is that the Spires, the actual rulers, they want to join in the fight, and they do it either when they're either through the biomancers and ferromancers that they come down themselves and fight, or sometimes what they do is that they create these huge monsters that they become their vessels. They see through their eyes. As a matter of fact, the masks that you see are not the abomination's eyes. It's just a little signature ferromancers or biomancers like to put, so their face can be seen in battle, and so they go in and fight themselves.
Oh, I see. All right, we have some concept pieces here, I believe.
Yeah. Well, these are the logos, the icons for the sub factions of the Spires.
Ah, okay. So go left to right. Who do we have? Okay,
so left to right we have we're talking about, it's more of the enterprise, the corporate kind of logo here. In the middle, on the right, we have the Underhive.
Okay.
And that is the more rugged, the more the biomancers, those that do create all these different organic soldiers. And in the middle, you have the more elite tiers of the noble society, of the Spire society.
And on the left, who are they?
The left is the ferromancers.
Okay, cool. I have tons of artwork to look through here, so if I look like I'm just staring at the iPad, it's not because I'm not interested in my guest, it's because I'm trying to figure out what I want to show that's cool next. Let's pick this one. So what do we have here?
Here we see a knight, a feudal knight. As you see them here, this is the art that we're going to have on our cards, because the game is we play heavily with cards, with command stacks and so on. This is how we decide the order of activation. And on the right, we have a more fleshed out art of the knight.
Yeah, I love the armor design that you've went for here. It's got sort of a old European style, but still with a bit more fantasy flair stuck in there, which is very, very nice.
Thank you.
Moving on through, we have some full artwork.
Yeah, this is again a piece. This is a little bit of pieces from the overall art that we have for the starter box. In the forefront, you see a steel legion, a soldier. These are heavily armored soldiers with their two-handed swords, and on the back you see the men at arms.
Okay. Moving on through, I have quite a bit of very, very nicely done artwork here.
Again, we see now the men at arms fighting against the Spires. This is overall concept art from our lore.
On through, is this a commander of some sort?
Yeah, this is our commander. This is actually for us a very iconic piece of the 100 Kingdoms. So you see the commander posing in front of a fresco that is a battle, one of the battles that have been fought, civil wars of the 100 Kingdoms, and this is an iconic piece for us.
Okay, we have a more fleshed out piece for the Dweghom, I believe.
Yeah, these are the Dweghom. This is a little bit setting the mood here of the overall attitude of the Dweghom.
There's a real coldness to his stance, very much detached from the combat, but very much ready just to chop you in two.
Yeah, they were the one that have shards of war himself. Within them, and they are not very nice. They're not very,
Okay, next up, who is this?
So we're talking here, we have some early exploration art for the Nords. So the Nords now, they are human. They actually are a lot based on the concept that they are humans, but they live with all these different tribes of monsters. So we're talking about trolls, we're talking about ogres, we're talking about Valkyries going in there, all these sorts of things.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, all these different sorts of things. So this is a piece of art that really sets the mood of what to expect of the Nords.
We then have one from the Spire.
Yeah, this is the corporate. This is the corporate an image of the corporate spire. You see here one of the ruling lords of the spire. These characters are never the ones that go into battle themselves. They see war as as a matter of logistics and as a matter of accounting, in a sense. They create their soldiers, they send them in trying to reach their objectives, and that's pretty much how they see it.
Yeah, well, looking at this, I'm trying to find his face. I'm looking high, and then I look down and I see, he's actually sitting in the chair with the evil Pyramid of Doom.
Yeah, like with his bodyguards left and right.
Yeah, okay, we have a couple more pieces here. What are these?
On the left, you see the elite clones. These are actually, now we depart from the drone. These are actually clones, and what they are is that they're closer to the genetic material that makes the actual spires. So we're talking they actually have a status in society. Then they have a certain amount of intelligence themselves. And to the right, you see they're called infiltrators. And actually they're an elite unit that goes ahead of the army, trying to disrupt the opponent.
Very cool. I love the sort of biotech that's been used to actually forge these, because everything, it feels organic, it feels bone-like, and quite horrifying. Very nicely done. We then have a piece of concept, I believe.
Yeah, actually, this is the art that we have on the card for the brute drone. You see right now in a very intimidating position. This is the armor. Actually, the armor is something that is grown as well, and it's strapped onto them and sealed in place, and ready to fight, ready to be replaced by another brute in his place after he passes. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, last one we have here. What is these?
These are the spires.
Okay.
These are the actual structures that the faction of the spires actually live in.
Okay.
So these are the actually, you see a little bit of an exploration from right to left, how the overall concept began and where we got. And these are the structures that they live in, they create their soldiers in, they handle all the biomaterial that they harvest, and they root themselves deep within the earth to draw all this material.
This is a very, very interesting faction for me because of that. The idea that they're not so much using technology, but using their different sort of forms of mancies, or what. How do you describe your magic within this world?
Well, magic, it really has to do with the race that we're talking to, because the overall concept of this world is that every living being has different parts of creation and destruction in them. And some of them, the different balances between these two elements actually provide the ability to some to use magic, whilst others do not have this ability. For example, the spires do not use magic in the traditional sense. They have their biomancy and their theromancy, right? So that we could not really call it magic.
So is it more of a science?
It's more of a way they use between themselves, like sort of thing. Like it's almost like a way that they use to command. Rather than cast an actual spell.
See, but seeing that organicness just completely built into the faction makes it very, very different. I'm sure there are painters out there who are just going to be drooling over these, waiting to lay into them to see what they can do with them. The humans I really like because they have that nice classic medieval feel, but still with nice fantasy flair and touches thrown in there, so they feel like they're part of the world, which is not an easy thing to do sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. For example, the humans are they are a perfect balance between destruction and creation within them. So, but that prohibits them from really using magic. They have magic on their own that they focus through different energies, but they're not this faction that can truly master magic.
Well, Leo, thank you very much. This sounds like it's a very, very fun world to actually drop into and start exploring. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
What I want to do right now is actually go and start playing this. So guys, stay tuned because we will be getting some gameplay of this down on the table, teaching you guys the main mechanics of the game, and then hopefully getting in a full game, and well, hopefully we'll have some death and destruction. Get your comments in below, tell us what you think of the world. We'll move on. We'll see you in the next one.
Fame and fortune awaits in Blood and Plunder. Set sail in the golden age of piracy and claim the riches of the Caribbean at beastsofwar.com. Twisted aliens and demented cultists battle across the devastating science fiction world of Dark Age. Muster your forces and learn to survive at beastsofwar.com.
Okay, so that is Conquest. I'm excited about this. And Warren, we got left a little gift. Here you go.
Ah! Look at it!
Yeah. So one of the vat-grown warriors.
Look at that. Is that the biggest camera angle?
Oh, that is. I didn't expect us to be showing off this big beastie. He wouldn't really fit on a normal camera.
Put him up in front of you there.
Ta-da! He's about the size of my head.
Yeah. That's a 3-up, isn't it?
That's one of the renders that they did. They were giving it out to a few people. So we have one of these. You know, if we want, it is fully primed. We could get it painted.
That's just mad. That's just mad. I did have a chance to have a look at the armies from Conquest, and I've got to say, the fact that they've went for a bigger scale, the armies are just so impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to behold on the tabletop. It really is.
It feels weighty when you're playing it.
It does. It does. Well, this is it. The miniatures feel weighty. Do the rules give it that sense
feel
of
like
crunch?
you've got
Does it?
a nice impact whenever you actually have the armies meeting each other. Not to mention the way the deployment works. So say this page is our deployment, right?
Yep.
The front line of my army tells me where I can bring reinforcements in from.
Yes.
And that's from the side of the table as well. So you're pushing against each other, trying to push your deployment further forward.
Yeah.
But if an enemy unit gets past you, that starts bringing your deployment back the way. So having things like fast scouting units can be very useful, because then you cut off an opponent's reserves and you can sort of munch down what's in front of you, while the rest of it has to take time to get up the table at you. Very interesting.
There's a really interesting strategy to the activation cards, because it uses a unit activation system and choosing those versus what you think your opponent's going to do. And the maneuverability, as Justin's mentioned, that because you can bring reinforcements in not just from the back but also from the sides, but it's also dependent on where your enemy's units are. If you've got enemy units right on your border, you're not able to bring reinforcements in there because they're essentially covering that side. So there's a real strategy to the movement, and it is I don't want to say rank and file based, because it's so big it doesn't really look rank and file. It feels mighty, but the units do move in that way. So there's a real strategy to your activations and movement, which gives them a lot of flexibility in their scenarios and how each turn rolls into the next.
Not to mention, whenever you're actually even just doing your deployment at the start of the game, you can actually only bring in lighter units at the beginning of the game. So you imagine your forces off the table marching toward the battle zone, and your light, fast scouting units are getting there first. So if you actually build yourself a force without those, your opponent might be able to get onto the table with those light, fast units and just cut you off from getting onto the table very effectively.
It's interesting. It'd be really interesting to see how it plays out as we start. We're going to have some content, hopefully, to start with this, because in the past, in terms of war games, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Some of the finest war games design meant that the game was won or lost in the movement. Okay, that the pew bit was important, but it was the movement that ultimately won or lost you the game. And it creates a game that allows you so much more strategic opportunity, you know, and it allows the game to be so different as different play styles and stuff come together. You know, that it starts to remove so many layers of the game away from the dice rolling, and the movement becomes crucial to the winning or loss of the game. I remember back in Warhammer 6th edition, Warhammer 7th edition, 5th, 6th edition, we used to always talk, this game is won or lost in the movement phase.
For this particular one, I'd say it's more won or lost within the activation phase, because it's the layer above your movement. Because if you activate too early in a turn, you might move yourself into a position where you've left yourself open, or if you don't move quick enough, your enemy might be able to close a gap that you were having a unit ready to move into and exploit.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. There's going to be some interesting games of that coming soon. Right, Kickstarters.
Yeah, we've got a couple.
What's going on in the world, guys? What two have we picked this week?
Okay, yeah, so the first one is from the guys at Modiphius. They've gone to Kickstarter with a new role-playing game. So this is the John Carter of Mars role-playing game. So this isn't a world that I'm particularly au fait with, but I know that a lot of people like it. It's by Edgar Rice Burroughs, which is the guy that created it all. And in traditional Modiphius style, they've gone and, sourced all the proper experts and everything for this. So like they did with Conan, they've gone and associated themselves with some of the scholars of the world, and they've brought them in to make this, a fully fleshed out role-playing game. It uses their 2D20 game system, which has also been used in the likes of Infinity and Conan. So it's kind of been perfected over these different editions and these different games and these different worlds, and hopefully it'll be brought together in a really nice set here. You get yourselves a really awesome looking starter set for this, which is fantastic. The book looks, very plush, and the artwork looks amazing in this as well. And as well as that, they're also throwing in a lot of miniatures as well into the mix. So they're all 32mm scale, or 28mm heroic, however you want to phrase it nowadays. And you can obviously pick up miniatures for all the different heroes, like John Carter and his allies as well. But also they're going to be creating a whole bunch of sort of sculpts for the different people from the different worlds, so you can bring them into the mix to create your own characters at the same time. As I say, it's a little bit of an interesting one. If you love the world, then you obviously want to go and try and pick this up and sort of dive into it. It's also something that maybe if you've looked at Flash Gordon in the past and you thought that's a really cool idea, I love their kind of settings and this sort of like mix of sci-fi and fantasy together, maybe check this out and see what it's like and sort of delve into the world of John Carter yourself. I know a lot of people maybe will reference it back to the film that was made maybe 5-6 years ago, something like that, maybe even a little longer now. But if you're interested in this, go and give it a look. The 2D20 system is meant to be really good. The momentum system they've got mixed into this. Go and check it out and see what you think.
Absolutely. Cool. It's got about 28 odd days left to go. I know nothing about the John Carter world. I'm trying to think back to the movie. The movie was Disney's big attempt at, I can't even remember what they were pitching John Carter against at the time.
Replicating Avatar or
was
something?
It Avatar
around
or
that time?
something? Yeah,
it was sort of a hero plucked from his world and thrown into a sci-fi world sort of adventure.
I may have to go and dig the movie out and have a watch of it. And see what we think. Okay, next up, 22 days left to go. We have an interesting little Kickstarter, one of the kind of little hidden gems. This one's called Fate's Lair. Ben, you're quite impressed with this one.
Yeah, so this is from a one-man operation. His name's Jin Lee, and this is Fate's Lair, as you say there. It's a selection of sort of dark fantasy miniatures that are all going to be sculpted in 3D, and then they're going to be turned into resin miniatures on the tabletop for you to use in whatever games you might fancy. As I was looking to this, it was pretty fantastic, because you've got a lot of really nicely sort of semi-anime-inspired characters going through here, which is really cool, and some amazing-looking monsters as well. The big thing that hit for me here was that you could almost use these as kind of alternatives if you were looking at expanding on your collection for the likes of Kingdom Death, or maybe you wanted to have some alternative heroes, or stat up your own kind of monsters for Dark Souls. You could almost throw these in there as well. Obviously, if you're looking at this from a role-playing side of things as well, you've got some interesting options here. But the reason I wanted to highlight this is it's a little bit of a one-man operation, which I thought was really cool. Someone who's getting really stuck into it and creating their own image and designs on the tabletop, and hopefully we'll see this go well. It's already funded, and maybe we'll see some new projects coming out from this guy in the near future as well, which is really cool. So
the guy certainly has talent. He is a very, very talented sculptor. It kind of takes me back to the early days of Kingdom Death, but just less cocks and boobs, really.
I don't know. I'm seeing lots of tentacles mixed in amongst all this.
So it's but it is nice, and it's worth us remembering, that that while we flock to Kickstarter for our big games and things like that, and our big hits. Remember that Kickstarter is also the lifeblood of small startup entities who rely on it to give them a shot at trying to bring something to life. So I think it's well worth checking out.
Yeah, the likes of the Ark World stuff, for example, the fact that they've got 3 Kickstarters behind them now, all off the back of one very small one that built them a fan base, and it's slowly growing. It's lovely to see what small and even one-man operations can do.
Kickstarter's about a lot of stuff. I'm not going to say it's about one thing or the other. What I'm saying is it's worth keeping in mind, that from time to time, go and check out those little gems, because that Kickstarter itself may get you some cool stuff, but it's what the success of that Kickstarter potentially unlocks for them going forward. This is where we get our innovation from. This is where we can get the new blood, new designers, new games, because while it's great to have lots of games, we ideally, as an industry, don't want to be ending up in Hollywood style, where the only games that successfully fund are sequels of games. We want to try and give these guys a start, a following, an ability to try and leverage themselves to the point where they can bring us our next pieces of hugely important intellectual property. And the beauty of it is, unlike Hollywood, where they're running around looking for investors, we, as a community, have the full control of that. We have the ability to ensure that there's fresh blood always given the opportunity to come through our industry to make sure that we don't end up with a staleness, which is one of my big worries, is that the only thing that people will invest in will be the sequels to something that was successful in the past. We want to see new things too. Right, do you want to name us some winners?
We have some winners. Well, in traditional style, when we're having a bit of fun with these competitions, this one was for Chronicle X.
Yes.
There's 2 pledges we're going to give away for the Area 51 pledge system. Really awesome that Archon were able to arrange this for us. Now, the challenge was you had to let us know how you would defend Earth from an alien invasion. And what we do is every single person who suggested an option, we randomly put it in. But I wanted to highlight a couple of my favorites first. I had to pick out a couple of my favorites because there were a couple of doozies in here, as you would put it. So a couple of nice ones. So first of all, I had Ciro Meshi had said attempt diplomacy as a means of distraction while simultaneously building forces to hopefully make a surprise attack. If they aren't telepathic.
They totally are! They totally are! Right. Okay, so I'd mentioned to you just before the weekend went off air before Christmas that the aliens are coming. Yeah. Okay? So I started to prepare myself, okay?
Did you build a bunker out the back?
Right. So there's a whole bunch of aliens out there, and I'm now becoming a bit of an expert on the Zeta Reticulans, okay? So the Zeta Reticulans, Justin, you're in trouble, man. Okay?
Right.
So the Zeta Reticulans are telepathic, okay? So what these dudes can do is if you're in any way relaxed, they can totally take over your mind.
Right.
You're dead, man, because you're always kind of half catatonic. So they've totally got you.
Hey, just get flustered.
The only ones that they can't take over the mind are the ones who are like buzzing mad all the time. I think I'm okay. I think I can beat off a Zeta Reticulan, Justin.
Here's your problem, Warren. How do you know this isn't misinformation from this alien species?
Because it's a documentary, man.
They're trying to get you to think more. They're trying to get you to think more active.
It's the other way around. They're making you feel safe so that you might relax.
There's a great documentary on Netflix. Oh God, I've completely ruined my house. I put this on. It's about a guy. He has been abducted by aliens numerous times, and he's the only guy who actually has a mountain of evidence. Yeah. Okay, so he actually has film footage of the aliens peeking in through his windows and stuff like that. It is flipping brilliant. You're looking at it and you're going, I can't tell if this is bullshit or not. You know, it's kind of that on edge of the uncanny valley, but it's maybe what you would expect. I don't know. Either way, I was watching this, and my kids were watching this too. And they said, "What is this you're watching?" And I said, "What do you see? What do you see? What do you see? The window. Look at the window." And you look at the window, and next thing, this little alien head pops up, looks into the window. Now you can be almost sure the eyes are kind of open and closing slightly and moving. Like, it's really well done. And then the head goes like that there. And my kids all went, "Ah!" I've just left it to the stage now. Even my eldest Savannah won't go up to the toilet on her own. Andrea had said to her, "Right, it's bedtime, go on up and do your peas and everything." And then Savannah looked at her, the wee face started to melt. This is days afterwards. And Andrea didn't notice. She went on busybody, right? And then she came back. "Are you still here? Savannah, get up to the toilet and get yourself ready to get into your jammies." Savannah still kind of stood around and went, "What is wrong, Savannah? You will not go up." And Savannah's face started to melt. And she goes, "Are you scared?" And so I said, "Yes." She said, "What are you scared of?" "The aliens!" So the whole house, even little Max is running around going, "About the aliens!"
You're going to have to go to the outside of the bathroom window and put a vinyl.
Oh, no. He needs to get himself a drone and just hang a little alien head off the bottom of it. So he can just...
Oh, my God.
So, in my expert opinion, Sarah Mishi, unfortunately, the aliens are telepathic. Okay, who's next?
Another favourite, again, this is not one of the winners, unfortunately, but this was for Warhammer Grimace said, put John in a tank of his choice.
Okay.
With Will Smith. And point them in the general direction of the aliens. Let's face it, Will Smith always kicks alien butt. With John at the helm of the tank, we can't lose. Loved it.
That sounds like a good Hollywood blockbuster. I would watch
that.
There is a flaw to that, okay? And it's a flaw pretty much only anybody in Beasts of War would really know. If you've actually spent any time in close proximity to John, either John or Will Smith, one of them will not be getting out of that tank alive.
No. I mean, like John is quite fine. You know, who says he's letting Will Smith into the tank? He was in the tank first.
Yeah, there is a fundamental flaw there, unfortunately. Okay, we have another favorite.
Roberto 7 or Robert 07, not sure which. I couldn't not. I like originality, but his solution to the alien invasion was to take the car, go to Mum's, kill Phil, grab Liz, go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all of this to blow over. How does that for a slice of fried gold? All very, very worthy suggestions. I loved reading a bunch of them. There was loads of political ones in there. My goodness.
Really?
Aliens raised a lot of questions about what media we watch, how we should bombard them with trashy TV, and how we should send our politicians from across the world. There was a lot of different ones mentioned, up to show them the worst that we can produce.
Geordie Shore.
Oh, God.
Geordie Shore.
Or The Only Way is Essex. Send them up there.
Send either of those two shows up, and they won't even bother invading the planet. They'll just go, the only way to be sure, nuke the whole lot.
They'll look at it and go, kill it with fire.
Who are our winners?
The 2 pledge winners for the Area 51 for Chronicle X. First of all, the answer given was, how do I defend the world from an alien invasion? Step 1, get drunk on tequila. Step 2, get my guns and ammo. Step 3, get naked. Either way, by shooting them or laughing at me to death, I win. That was Goochman.
That had to be the Goochman. That had to be the Goochman. I'm on that.
Yeah.
Goochman, save me a beer. Save me a tequila, save me a gun, and save me somewhere to put my clothes. We'll do it together.
This one, I first read it and thought, I can't say that.
Yeah.
I can't say that on the
I got halfway across that first line there.
Yeah, but it got saved at the end, and I thought, you know what? It seems like legitimate strategy here. This is okay. So the solution to alien invasion, I would distract them with wine, cheese, and we'll call them women of the night, and wait until someone saved us. It worked for the French in World War II, according to Allo Allo.
You would have been better just reading that as it was, because prostitution is a total equal opportunities thing.
Don't they still call them gigolos?
No. You can be female prostitute or male prostitute. So do not fear the word, man. It's the oldest job in the world, man. It's the oldest job in the world.
True.
But do you know what? That is based on historical fact.
Which is why?
And you know, we love that. We are the only tabletop site with a historical editor, so he will be all over that.
Yep.
There we go.
That was
I would distract them with wine or cheese, and prostitutes of your various flavors.
That is the worst French accent.
We could do it. We could totally do it.
We had another. That was Pagan 8.
Pagan 8. So well done, Goochman.
Thank you, everyone, for all of your answers. They're all fantastic.
In fact, we could almost combine them. Okay, when me and Goochman...
No. Warren's burlesque bar is not happening.
No, we had another prize to give away.
Okay, yeah.
We had the Dark Age starter set.
Yes.
We had to give away, and the way to win this one, this was our final episode before Christmas, was to tell us your worst best Christmas cracker joke.
Yes.
Okay.
Robert.
You picked it?
On Beasts of War.
Okay.
Oh, I randomly picked it.
Oh,
there was
randomly
tons of suggestions.
Okay.
Randomly chosen from all
randomly
the jokes.
picked.
Well,
some of you put in a lot of suggestions.
Yeah, there were some people who hit up 10, 12 jokes in posts, which was impressive. I don't even know if I can get through this. Go on. You can
well, before we read the winner, tell me your best from Christmas.
My best?
Yeah.
Oh, you put me on the spot now?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I challenge any of them against you. I know you'll win.
I bottled it because I looked through the comments, and by the time I got to the comments, I think there was like 3 pages, and they were all just so good. I was like, I'm not even going to weigh in. I can't hold a candle to what was coming out. I had fear. Do you know the way you think you're really good at bad jokes, and then you see some really bad jokes?
I never pulled a cracker all Christmas.
What?
We forgot.
We have to get you a cracker.
We enjoyed our Christmas dinner so much. We had a hugely relaxing Christmas. I took sick again, as I do every year. Every Christmas, take time off work, boom, end up sick. But we managed the Christmas dinner process and stuff really smoothly this year. We were doing a lot of stuff ahead of time. We also cut down on the amount of stuff we bought. We're now buying probably only 20% of what we had bought in previous Christmases, and it's still we have bits and pieces of leftovers that are.
I've been to your house for a Christmas dinner. You guys cook a lot, or
so,
you used to anyway.
So we're scaling it all down, but we enjoyed our Christmas dinner so much we actually forgot to crack a cracker.
Oh,
so
man.
we just boxed them, put them in the attic, and they'll do next year. So it's.
What do you get if you cross a sheep and a kangaroo?
I don't know. What do you get if you cross a sheep and a kangaroo?
Woolly jumper?
Oh, God. Right, the winner! The winner was Robert on Beasts of War, and he says, 2 peanuts walk into a bar. One was assaulted. On that note, we are done. First episode of 2018.
Get your press claims in on beastsofwar.com, top right corner.
Yes, very, very importantly, come along tomorrow if you want to find out how to win.
Yes,
the Typhon bundle.
The Typhon bundle is being given away. We're going to have some fun over the next month with that. So come on over, join Backstage. You know you want to. It pays for the show you're watching. So come on in and get involved. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Take it easy. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now, and be sure to check out beastsofwar.com for the latest gaming news and gaming Let's Plays. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.